Man, what kind of cliffhanger is that? This wait for next week is going to be horrific. I mean, we have basically everything building up on Lena's side, and that last scene was just brutal, very brutal, and that's super cheap, you son of a guns. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 5 of part 2 or episode 16, whatever way you're going with it. But yeah, absolutely incredible episode. I think my only misgiving that I have is the entire episode I was going, where's Sawano? Where's Sawano Hiroyuki? Like, I know he's working on the music from what I understood, but man, where's the vocals? where's the Sawano style in there? I mean, it's just completely void of Sawano Hiroyuki. So I really am questioning if he's even a part of this, which is really unfortunate. It gives me a lot of vibes of Aldnoah Zero, where first season, Sawano was just all over it. He was just embedded into it, and now we get to the second part, and it's just like, psh, let's just use some generic music and just kick it. I mean, it was good music. Don't get me wrong. Just it's not Sawano. It's like not. There's no Sawano in there. There's no Sawano drops. Again, there's no vocals. Just I needed that. Like I needed that. I mean, there's so many combat sequences in this entire episode, and he's just not there. But yeah, despite that, absolutely incredible episode. And like I said, really mean ending to it because I need the next episode like now. I need it now. I wonder how long it's going to take before they show what happened to the 86. I'm having a feeling like the next episode's probably going to open up with Lena really kicking it up, and we're not going to get anything of the 86 and the Giad until like at the very end or something like that. Just to trail us on wondering what happened to them in that room. But yeah, the episode opens up with Shin waking up Raiden and basically tell him it's coming. It's time. There's a whole bunch coming. He even says, don't even get in my comms. It's going to get bad. And it's funny because when he mentioned the idea of not getting in his comms, I thought it was specifically for the voices. Like he's going to hear a lot of voices and it's going to get crazy. But it's not as if they have a parade system, so it's not as if he'll hear the voices through Shin. Unless the Giad had somehow figured out the technology and they're now using it, their comms are always vocal. So I'm considering that Raiden, he told Raiden, because I was wondering why Raiden didn't question it. Like, the moment that Shin said, don't get into my comms, Raiden didn't question, like, look, we don't have a parade system, and what are you talking about? I'm thinking he knew that he was going to get into it. Like, he knew he was going to lose himself. Because this entire episode is literally Shin losing himself. He's losing himself just like Kitty did. And so I'm wondering if he wanted Raiden to stay out of his head so that he can get into the fight and just go crazy and lose himself in it. Yeah, this is funny because Shin, says, I gotta go wake up the army. So he goes into the command center and literally just holds him at gunpoint and tells him, get everybody up right now. Like, nobody questions it. Like, okay, wake everybody up. I don't know how he got away with that, but I guess we're just supposed to say, well, because it's Shin, they're like, it's just Shin, it's fine. You kind of gonna get shot. I mean, one person kind of mentions, well, I hope they actually show up, otherwise that guy's gonna get a bullet in the head, accidental bullet in the head. And it's like, well, they let him go, so I guess he can technically hold him at gunpoint and then walk out the door with the gunpoint and get inside the vehicle, and they let him get on the battlefield and don't question it. It's not something you get away with. I don't care who you are. That's not something you get away with. But anyways, we'll let that one slide. It's cool that he did that, I guess. But yeah, that's the point in which we see our first note of this. When his hatch closes up, you see Shin grin very briefly. He's totally going in that route, and that's exactly what Frederica sees pretty much the entire episode is she's losing him, just like she lost Kitty. But yeah, full out war. They end up driving off the first wave. They're talking about like, okay, now go back and get resupply. You're fine. And he's checking his supplies. Like, all right, cool, let's go. We're going to the main force. We're not stopping now. Calls the entire squad to him. They all go out there and they just absolutely wreck things. They even have the supply lines making sure they get stuff out there fast enough, because one of them says like, don't let Fido have to come back for anything. They're like, no. Keep him supplied. Keep him supplied. They're going to do their job. Just keep them supplied. That's when Frederica uses her eyes to see if she can find Kitty, and she ends up seeing a vision of the walls of the 85 falling. So the Legion, while they're over here, obviously they're also going after Roa Gracia and Wald and Sag Magnolia. And so she sees a vision of the flag falling and the wall being breached. So I don't think it's implying that Kitty was there. So I think that's the assumption, but it's technically that Kitty is controlling forces that are now breaching the wall, because there's no way that Kitty could have gotten from there all the way to Sang Magnolia, or at least where they're at right now at their current battlefront, that quickly. So I'm assuming he was just controlling the forces over there as a, what they call them, the shepherds, I think. But yeah, she tries to tell Shin. That's when she realizes, yeah, he's going Kitty's route. He's getting crazy. Being Baka. But he still makes it, even though like his armor gets pierced, he gets cut and everything. He just keeps going at it. Eventually gets back, and then yeah, that's when Frederica comes up and says, You're acting just like Kitty was. Stop. Stop. But yeah, that's when we get Lena finally. Lena's finally in the show. And yeah, she catches a news broadcast that is saying that apparently Grand Mur is being attacked, which I think is one of the 85 districts. Again, that wall being breached and them getting past the 86 into the 85 districts. Lena immediately jumps into action, starts to go off to contact the 86, and that's when Karstal shows up. Her uncle finally shows up, and he says, no, what are you doing? Let it fall, pretty much. I guess his mentality here is that he believes that the people at 85 would not want the 86 to save them. It's just they don't want them in there. They would rather fall than have the 86 enter the 85 districts. But not only that, but I guess there's an idea that they don't want the 86 to realize how they're protecting a bunch of useless civilians that do nothing but complain. And if they realize how quickly they can take over the 85 districts, if they go in there and realize how easy it is to take over, they may take it over. There's no reason why they would want to fight for the 85, and if they did fight for them, not just take over. And from Lena's perspective, she's like, no, they'll fight because we still supply them with things. We still have power. We have all these things that we supply them. So they technically need our support either way. And of course, he's just thinking, you're acting like a child. You have these grand ideas of how good people are. Eventually, you're going to have the wake up call. But for now, he's going to let her. Like he just says, okay, do what you want to do. He picks up his gun. They have a meeting apparently going on for the Grand Mirth situation. And he walks off with a gun. So right here, it technically is implying that her uncle is going to essentially go and I guess hold back, keep them away while she does what she does. Because that's the only reason that he'd have the gun there. She's like, you were already planning on doing this anyways. I guess just that he was testing her before he did that because he knew that Lena was going to go do that. But he does know that she's going to need somebody to hold everybody off while she does that. Like she's going to have to make the decision to bring the 86 into the 85 districts, and he's going to have to keep people from saying no, that you can't do that. So that's when she goes off, and I'm assuming she is utilizing this new technology that Aneta's been working on, because she goes up there and she literally turns on the para-raid system to all 86. She's literally she's basically connecting to everybody in the para-raid system to let them know what's going on. Also, it seems like many of the command as well. So she's commanding everybody, 86, all of her people that's under her, all with one connection. So pretty crazy. Whether that'll have more detrimental effects to her, we'll have to wait and see. Is she going to get more red hair? Yeah, and that's when we leave with that last scene. Everybody's meeting up together, all the 86 anyways, not 86, Shin and his people are all meeting up with Frederica, and she's telling them that what she's seen. She's seen that they breached the wall into the 85. So they're asking, is Kitty there then? And it's like, nope, he's not there. And that's when, yeah, I'll kill you. Eyes of Kitty pop up, and Shin goes to shield Frederica, and everything goes to white. So apparently Kitty is there, and he is attacking. So yeah, like I said, I kind of envision the next episode is going to open up with probably Lena fighting back the Legion from the 85 and all the stuff involved with that. Probably some issues with Uncle having to fight off people. And I'm assuming at the very end, we'll probably see like a room in rubbles, and hopefully none of the characters dead in that room. I mean, they're just in a room not shielded, so it's not a good thing for a bombardment that happens. So yeah, absolutely crazy episode. Lots of action. Like I said, my only issue was the fact that they didn't use Sawano Hiroyuki's music, or at least utilize it well. But at the same time, still the really solid animation from the studio A1 Pictures, whatever they're using for the CGI. Yes, it's CGI, but at the same time, they've always managed to make it look really good and match the style of the show itself, so it's always been really well polished. I just love a lot of the effects, a lot of the bombardment explosions, a lot of the military technology that they're using always looks good. All the shots of like the mountainsides just covered in that kind of light glitter, that look from the Legions is always really impressive. And it also seems like each one of them seems to have some sort of different version of the machine they're using. Like with Shin, it always emphasizes on his speed, his mobility, and his blade. With Kurina, it looked like she was a long-range cannon firer, like a sniper. With Anju, it looked like she had more of a barrage missile setup. Thedo looked like he was more like a machine gun type. So it was really cool kind of seeing each of them have like a different style that they're fighting with. Obviously, I don't see each one of them having a full array of missiles, a cannon for sniping, and machine guns and a blade. So it does seem like each one of them are actually customly built to way the style they want. But yeah, absolutely incredible. I'm assuming that probably the Roa and Wald are not in good shape. If they were having trouble with it, and even the Sang Magnolia is falling too, I don't think that the other two nations are going to do all too well, but very excited for next week. I think I'm already really hyped to see what Lina does. She's already been pretty hyped this season. We haven't got to see too much of her, which is funny because I was really craving to see what would happen with, Shin and his team, and I wasn't really too focused on Lina, but the moment I seen Lina this season, I'm like, I need Lina. She's looking awesome, and I'm liking what they're doing with her, so I'm super excited for next week, again, to see Lina basically command an entire fleet of 86, not just her one team. The kind of moral conundrums that we're obviously going to face the moment that we're essentially going to have, this is our first case where we're going to have the 85 coming to grips with the war being at their doorstep. And I'm really curious to see if they'll show the civilians' perspective, like what they're seeing. Like suddenly, out of nowhere, the news kept telling us this, and now it's in our doorstep, and we're in danger. And if they'll possibly see that, maybe this will be that moment they'll finally see that these are actually piloted machines that are fighting for them, which I always kind of assumed it would be like Lina would have to reveal that to the public or something through some kind of message. But now you're actually going to have civilians see it firsthand. Are they going to see some of these 86 fall in the streets and fall out of the machines to give them that final perspective that these are not unmanned drones. These are people that are in these machines. But yeah, super excited for next week. Like I said, I'm fully expecting us to not get an answer as to what happened with Shin and everybody until way late, but we'll see. It's going to be a long week wait, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment, let me know about the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. And we definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.